So, if you are a Montreal Canadiens fan, you're fully aware that Ken Hughes and company, Jeff Gordon, they are in a rebuild right now. They are restocking for the future, trying to make a team that can score a bunch of goals, be a good defensive team, and stop pucks in the net. Okay, and there's a bunch of moves that need to be made to ensure that the kids can develop, because that's the key to a successful rebuild, is allowing the kids on your team to develop and to acquire draft picks like Infinity Stones. And we saw the Jake Allen extension, 2 years signed by him, and honestly, I love that move. I know it's over $3.8 million, but to me, I love that move because that's 2 more years for you to either develop somebody like Caden Primo or for you to go and look for a number one goalie for the future. Because, dude, that is so hard to find a number one goalie for the future. Like, look at the Ottawa Senators since Craig Anderson kind of fell off. Now they have, I guess, Cam Talbot. But, like, it was a bit of a struggle to find that number one guy. It's not always super easy. In Calgary, after Mika Kiprasov left, I mean, look at the guys that they had, like Brian Elliott, Kari Ramo, Jonas Hiller, just to name a few, Mike Smith. Like, it was tough to find a bona fide number one goalie. So I like that move for the Habs to buy them some more time to find one. And again, they need draft picks. These guys like Dadonov, like Hoffman, they're going to most likely get moved at the trade deadline because, again, it's good to have some veterans on the team. It's good to have some guys who can show the ropes to the young kids. I know Caufield and Hoffman are really tight, right? So it's good to have those guys around for that. But also, if they can get you a pretty penny on the trade market, like, let's say Hoffman, even a guy like Drouin who's in the last year of his contract, like, if they come to the deadline, they have 40 points, 50 points, 15, 20 goals, like, those are guys you got to ship out. But the one core member of the Habs, and I know you can argue with me, I consider him a core member because Bergevin signed him to a 5-year contract, and he makes a pretty penny at over $5.5 million. Josh Anderson. And so many people love Josh Anderson because of what he did during that playoff run when they went to the Stanley Cup final. They love how he's fast, he's big, he's bruising. The girls love him because he's good looking. Like, a lot of people in Montreal love Josh Anderson. And yes, he does bleed Montreal Canadiens red. Like, he has talked so many times about how proud he is, how happy he is to be a Montreal Canadien. So I totally understand all of that. And we know that last summer there were some teams kicking tires wanting to maybe get Josh Anderson. But man, do I think if this guy can stay healthy this year, by the trade deadline, because he has so much term on his contract, I absolutely do think Josh Anderson could fetch a better return than what Tyler Toffoli got for the Montreal Canadiens. And if I need to remind you, that was a first-round pick, which ends up being Filip Mesar. That looks real good, doesn't it? Emil Heineman was in that trade as well to the Montreal Canadiens. Those two in and of itself, if you've watched any of the preseason games, you know that those are great players for the Montreal Canadiens right now, and they're going to be Montreal Canadiens in the future, and effective ones, right? And there's some other stuff in that trade that maybe a little, like Tyler Pitlick was a part of that trade as well. But I'm absolutely of the belief that if Anderson comes in, he plays on a line with like Caufield and Suzuki, or even with like Gallagher, Monahan, Dadonov, Drouin, there's some options there. He can produce like upwards of 15 to 20 goals. He had a year where he almost scored 30 with Columbus when they were bad. So like absolutely, I think if Anderson can have 15 to 20 goals going to the trade deadline, over 40 points, he still plays his banging bruising style, but stays healthy. That's the key here. Man, do I think this guy could fetch a king's ransom for the Montreal Canadiens. I think this could be an absolute steal as far as trades go. And these are the types of trades that set your rebuild up. Okay, I'll never forget when the Calgary Flames, Montreal fans will know this guy well, Mike Camilleri in the 2013-14 season, everybody was saying trade the guy because he was scoring like nobody's business by the trade deadline, and they kept him. And guess what, that free agency season? When signed with the New Jersey Devils, and the Flames lost him for nothing. And I know they made the playoffs the next season, but after that, it was back to the drawing board, let me tell you. So, man, do I wish they would have got something good for Mike Camilleri. Absolutely. But, I mean, if you're Josh Anderson, guys, like, you also need veterans, right? So that's the counter argument, is you can't have a team where it's just 21, 22, 23-year-old kids. Like, you need some vets. Like, you need a Gallagher, right? You need maybe an Anderson, a Joel Edmondson. You need guys like that to show the young kids the good ways to play, how to be a pro, and when the going gets tough, the vets are the ones you look to, okay? So to me, you can't trade all of them, right? Like, there are some guys like Dadonov maybe, or Hoffman, or even Anderson, they're going to get you a really good penny, but you got to weigh which ones you want to keep long term. And maybe Anderson is part of that group, because by all accounts, he's very well liked in that dressing room. The dudes love him in there, the fans love him as well, so maybe he's a guy you look at keeping because of that. And he can really fetch you some good minutes when he's healthy. The problem is, he's run into injury trouble in his career, and it's really, really derailed him at times. So if that's something you want to hold on to for the next few years, that's a risk you're going to have to take. Whereas right now, if he has a good season, which I'm sure he will, if he's healthy, you got to sell high on Josh Anderson. That's my point of view. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments down below. As usual, of course, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.